Hey guys, I got 4 easy tricks to make sure your automatic campaigns in 2020 are going to make you money. So as you can see, here's a screenshot of my account. It's what I do. I'm a full-time FBA seller. And right now it's 11:33. I got about 96 sales, over 100,000 in sales over the last 30 days. So a few of these tricks here are going to help grow your business to the next level. All right, let's get started. So first, let's talk about why automatic campaigns lose money. The 4 main reasons that we're going to combat are, first, the search terms Amazon is using are terrible. So Amazon's just looking for ways to spend your budget, and they'll look for keywords. As long as it's in your listing, then they'll look for keywords that might not drive sales or might not be related to your product. So keep that in mind. It's very important to have an optimized listing within your keywords to make sure Amazon are using the right keywords. So we're going to combat that though with negative keywords, and I'll talk more about that here in just a minute. Secondly, your bids are too high. Your budget's getting used throughout the day, and you can just lower your bids and extend out your time throughout the day and get cheaper clicks, and we'll talk more about that. So you also can be losing a lot of sales on where the placement is on your campaigns, and we'll talk more about that, but it's going to be top of search, product detail pages, the rest of search. I'll share with you on how to figure out whether these automatic campaigns should be bidding in different areas and what to do about that as well. The last thing is the targeting feature that Amazon has now, which is really cool, which consists of loose match, a close match, complements, and substitutes. So if you're bidding in those different areas, typically the conversion rates differ based on those different types. So we'll talk about how to make sure you're optimizing those 4 areas as well. The first thing we're going to do is add negative keywords to your automatic campaigns to make sure we're not bidding on those anymore. We got to find them first. And how we're going to do that, from your campaign module, you're going to go to advertising reports, and you're just going to run a quick search term report. From here, make sure to select all campaigns is selected as sponsored product. Report type is going to be selected to search term. Report name, you can change this here to whatever you want, but let's just say auto, and let's just put the date. And report period. Here I like to do a customized, and I like to run that for as long as back as possible. So I'm going to select the this first date, the from date, and put back here and apply. A data unit, I'm going to put as total. Create report. I already had the report ran, and as you can see, I kind of hid a few things just to protect my product and my identity. But from here, I'm going to add a filter into my Excel report. So once that report is created, I didn't show you this. Like right now, mine's still generating, but it's gonna jump here to download. That's gonna download straight to an Excel file. So from here, you'll need Excel. It'll look like this. But what I like to do is just select all this data here and hit a little shortcut on your Excel. Do Control-Shift-L, and it's gonna create filters. Filters are gonna be key to doing things quickly in Excel to make these changes. So first, I'm going to go find the campaign that I'm looking for. You're just going to hit this drop down box and find that exact campaign. It's typically, you'd want to have a naming convention to have such as auto on the campaign name to make sure it's easy to find. And from here, I'm going to make a few different changes. I'm going to come over here to spend last day total sales. I will select 0 on this one. Just this way, why I'm selecting 0 is we're finding keywords that are not generating sales first. So let's start there. Find keywords that are not generating sales but that have spend. So first I'm going to come to column O. After I've got my campaign, I select O, and then I'm going to select spend. And from my spend, I'm going to go find the ones that had the most. Notice mine, it's pretty optimized, so I'm not spending a lot of areas that I could be. So typically you might find 10, 20, 30 bucks of spend of keywords that aren't generating sales. So what I would do here is then I would select these higher amounts here on my filter, or you could go to numbers filter and do a greater than. Like if you want to do greater than $10, especially if you have a lot of data, a lot of keywords that aren't generating sales, you can just select that and do like a greater than a certain dollar amount, but hit OK, and then that's going to pull in. So if I was doing like these 3 keywords, which if you notice that these keywords really aren't big traffic keywords, I'm going to select these 3 here, and then add those into the negative keywords. So how I'm doing that is I'm just gonna copy each one of these, and really you can copy it, like you can select the data and just copy it like that instead of selecting one at a time. And then I'm gonna go back to my automatic campaign and add those in. So once you're back on Seller Central, back to your campaign, you're just gonna add these keywords into our negative keywords. I've selected the campaign, so here's where you got to select whether you add it to the campaign level or add it to the ad group. Typically your campaigns, your products within a campaign are going to be similar products. You don't want to group products that don't make sense, right? So in that case, you just add it to the campaign level, is fine. But if you, for some reason, your automatic campaigns are have ad groups with different products, different types of products, then go down into the ad group level, select the ad group of that specific keyword that's being used, and put it in that way. It's going to look the same as either way you do it. It's going to have negative keywords at the top, and from here you're going to be able to add in those negative keywords. So it's pretty simple. Add negative keywords, and from here you could select negative exact, negative phrase. So let's talk about that. If the phrase itself is a phrase that completely makes no sense, and words before and after that or after that keyword would not make sense to your product, go ahead and add it as a phrase, you know. But if it's a negative exact, I guess a good example of a negative phrase would be if you're selling a product for, let's just say for babies, and it's targeting adult keywords, add it as a negative phrase to make sure none of those keywords would come in no matter before and after. Because if you put it as a negative exact, it could just change up a few things and get it and put it back into your search terms with a slightly different variance. So, but in most cases, you're going to add it as a negative exact. Just go ahead and throw it in this list, and let's just say I'm just going to put in here baby product. I'm going to add that keyword in, negative exact, and then I'm going to hit the save button. So those are the keywords that you're going to get from the report we just discussed here. You just copy and paste it, you know, right straight from this report, and add it into your negative keywords that way. So that's going to make sure you're not generating spend in those keywords that are not generating you sales. You don't always have to select 0 on sales here as well. You can do this a different way. So let's talk about how, what are some other options. So let's just say we done remove those. In this case, I'm going to go back, undo my filter here, hit my Control-Shift-L again. In this case, I'm going to look for, you know, higher ACOS, right? So I'm going to come back over here and select all. So it looks like most of my keywords are around 4% or less in ACOS. So for me specifically, I don't have any opportunity to optimize this campaign. But let's say you have a lot of keywords that are in the 50 to 100% range, and you know that's not profitable. Then you can go back here, select column P, do your numbers filters, and do a greater than. So do a greater than. So if it's 50%, remember this is going back to a decimal. So put 0.5. If it's 70% ACOS, you want to do anything greater than 70% ACOS, 0.7. If it's 30, 0.3. So make sure you bring it back to a decimal, so it's not you know, doing a full number there. So because it's looking at percentage wise. But that will be able to give you a new list of keywords. I'm just going to do an example of anything greater than 2% for me. I'm going to do 0.02. As you can see, I got a few listed keywords that are between 2 and 5% there. And if that was too high for me, which it isn't, I'm making a lot of money off these keywords here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to grab those keywords and just select them and add them into my campaign here as a negative exact to make sure I'm not spending in those areas. So that will be about it. All you can do for your negative keywords. That's going to get you about 50% optimized. It's halfway there of how to make your campaigns profitable. So let's jump in some of these other areas. This next method is probably the easiest way to optimize, and that's optimizing your bidding. We'll start with if your budgets are getting too high, that's a good way to go in and just reduce bids, no matter if they're profitable or not. If your budgets are getting hit earlier in the day, you can reduce bids and expand those bids out, expand those clicks out throughout the entire day at a lower cost per click. But then you have to decide, if I'm profitable, it might just be important enough just to increase the budget. But if it's not profitable, or if it's not very profitable, not as profitable as you'd like, then you can decrease bids if your budgets are getting hit. So that's rule number 2. If your budgets are getting hit early in the day or even late in the night, if they're getting hit, then you can reduce bids. If they're getting hit later in the night, I would reduce bids by 5 or 10%. But if they're getting hit earlier in the day, as much as 25 and 30% if it's around noon. So what are some good easy ways to reduce the bids? You can jump right back to your Excel. Let's say your current bid's at $1.78, and you want to reduce the bid by 10% because it's getting hit right about 9 p.m. at night, right? So let's just reduce it by 10%. All I'm going to do is take my 10% from my 100%, so I want 90% of this bid here. I'm going to take this previous number and multiply it by 90%, 0.9. And that's going to give me the bid I want to enter into Seller Central. So I'm going to take this $1.60, go back to my campaign, and then from my default bid at my ad group level, I'm going to change to $1.60. And in this case, I got a low bid campaign at 20 cents. So typically I'm not reducing those bids. I reduced them out as probably as low as they'll go to make sure that they're getting shown throughout the entire day. So that's step number 2, is make sure your bids are getting shown throughout the entire day, because if they're not, you can just reduce the bid and get more clicks for less spend. So the next thing is your placements. Let's go back to your campaign. Let's look at your placements. So if you're at the campaign level, let's look at placements. This here is all about top of search, product pages, and rest of search. As you can see, this campaign particularly, I am getting shown all on product pages, and that's because it's a low bid campaign. So, but what you can do though is you can see where the campaign is performing its best. If it's performing its best, and when I say best, conversion rate. So you want to take your orders and look at the conversion rate. As you can see that this one hasn't been updated at this level yet. So yesterday wouldn't be a good example. Let's do last 30 days. You can see in this case my optimization was running at product detail pages. So that's where I can take a look at this bid adjustment. And if I'm converting higher on my product detail pages, then you can increase your product pages percent here. It's just dynamic bidding. Let's say I want to increase it 10%. I'm going to put 10 here. So that's going to take a $1 bid, as you can see, and change it to a $1.10 bid if it's on a product page. A lot of cases though where I've successful, especially in my manual campaigns, is coming over to the top of search and increasing by 10, 15, 20% here on the top of search, typically because you get a higher CTR and you get a higher conversion rate. That isn't always the case, but a good way to look at an automatic campaign level, it's very easy to tell by just going into your placements and seeing where you're converting. So that'd be the next step, is your placements. The next would be at an ad group level. You're going to come to your ad group level and look at targeting. Targeting is going to make a big difference too. So as you can see, there's 4 different types Amazon will target. There's a loose match, substitutes, close match, and complements. In this case, let's take a look. My loose match, I have it set at 40 cents, but in reality, as it's at 22% ACOS, it's still profitable for me, so I'm willing to spend that. If you notice that your loose match conversion rate was terrible, was tanking, let's say I had, instead of 12 sales there, I had 3 sales, then I can just come here and reduce this down to 25. And notice I'm still not even reaching Amazon suggested targets here, and I'm still getting clicks. So sometimes it just pays off to go ahead and reduce those, because if the automatic campaign's not profitable, and that's your focus right now is to turn it to profitability, then you can reduce the bids down as you need to. Bidding at a targeting groups such as loose match, substitutes, close match, and complements is going to save you a lot of money and waste, because if your loose match bids are extremely high and you notice they're not getting anything, turn those down and keep your close match bids up. The close match typically are going to have higher conversions. Let's see if that's the case for mine. It looks like mine are pretty much the same, around the it's about 15% here versus a little bit closer to 8%. So yeah, you could see it's nearly almost doubled my close match. So I'm willing to go ahead and increase this up to 0.60 while I'm leaving my loose match and substitutes down low. Those are still generating profit. I'm at 22%, 17% ACOS, and 10% ACOS. So I'm still generating profit in those, even in those targets. So when you look at profits, it's good to look at profits at a group level, which means is my loose match part of the campaign making me profits? Is my substitutes part of the campaign making me profits? Is my close match making me profits? Is each individual layer making me profits? And in this case for me, it is. But if it wasn't, then I go and make my adjustments, because if I just reduce the bid on the entire campaign when my close match is currently making me very good profits at 10% ACOS, then I'm hurting myself. So, and when I talk about profits, see, my products are typically gross profit around 40%. So if my ACOS is at 22%, that means I'm making about $1.9 for every dollar spent. So I'm getting 1.9 in back. So think about that. That's 90 cents on the dollar that I'm making for each dollar spent. So keep that in mind. If you're below your gross profit level, then you're making money with your campaigns. So now it's time to figure out, okay, I'm at $1.90, I'm at 22% ACOS. If that went up to 30% ACOS, but now I need to generate more traffic, get more impressions. Instead of 232,000 impressions, let's boost it up to 1 million. With that 8% ACOS increase, I'm still profitable. You got to figure out, okay, at that spend level, I'm still making profits. So and that would be more of a chart and more trial and error. So then increase your bids. Okay, I'm at 30% ACOS, but in spending $150 now versus $50, but my sales, they're triple. So I'm making X amount now. So really look at everything as big picture. So if I spend more, you make more, obviously at an optimized level. So, but that's the 4 ways to really optimize your automatic campaigns. You're going to start with get rid of those negative keywords. Those negative keywords, that's 50% of the way there. And then look at the groups. Look at, am I bidding? Is my budget getting hit early in the day? And if it is, where is it getting hit at? Is it getting hit with the loose matches, the substitutes, the close matches? So, and that's one way to tackle it, And then, is it on the placement? Is my top of search really performing well where my product detail pages aren't? Then increase the bid there, or increase the dynamic bidding, as we talked about earlier in this video. So once you get through those 4 steps, I mean, this is the best way to make sure your automatic campaigns are profitable. And if you're at that level in your business where you want to make things profitable, there's no reason you can't make these adjustments and keep adjusting until you hit profitability for these campaigns. So. But that's it. That's everything. That's how I would go and attack that, those automatic campaigns. If you haven't done so and you liked what you heard today, you liked the content, help me out by hitting a like and hitting a subscribe, adding a comment. Those things help me out. So just go ahead and do that. And then make sure that you are getting alerts for my channels as I put out more and more content to make sure, to help drive your business to that next level.